can keep his tongue.
Man, so Damon really knows how to get ahead of the situation.
Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of your Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for House of the Dragon. This is my weekly review for this week's episode of House of the Dragon. This is for episode 8, titled The Lord of the Tides.
Alright guys, this one's going to be doing another review today. This one's going to be doing another review for House of the Dragon. This is my weekly review for this week's episode of House of the Dragon. This is for episode 8, titled The Lord of the Tides. So, we have 2 episodes remaining for House of the Dragon. This has been a fantastic season so far. I think these first 8 episodes have really set the tone for what this show is going to be, and I feel like every single episode continues to raise the stakes. Now, that being said, that established, I do think this is a very good episode of House of the Dragon. I do have my issues with this one, however, in comparison to some of the ones before, which we're going to get into, and I think I'm going to get started with the biggest, obvious flaw that I think a lot of people probably will, assume that I have. It's one that I haven't really had all that much with House of the Dragon in the recent couple episodes, but it's a trend with the show that I think definitely takes me out of the experience a lot, which is, yes, I know, the time skip. I don't like the time skip. I don't like it this episode, and the only time in House of the Dragon I've really enjoyed the time skip is episode 6. I actually think that episode 6, when they skipped those 10 years, I really liked it. I thought it was really, really good, and, it really changed the vibe of the show, and it really made things feel different. But season 1, they'd be skipping like a couple years every episode, and it would be really, really weird. But, I don't know. I definitely think that time skips have been a little bit much in this show, and I think this episode really kind of draws the line for me with time skips, because we then now have skipped what is another 6 years into the future. Now, I know what people are going to say, Dan, well, you have to understand the reason why they skipped 6 years is so Lord Varys can get older and then obviously, kind of further the plot. And I understand that. But to be honest, I feel like you could have aged him up like this in episode 6. What does Lord Varys really do in episode 6 and episode 7? He's just the old guy that can't really do much aside from trying to tell everybody to get along. Like, to be honest, I feel like you could have just done this in episode 6 and 7 and had him look like this and still, obviously, spoiler warning, at the end of the episode, still kill him, right? So, I don't know, the time skip put me off in this one. It really put me off in a bit of a bad way this time, if I'm being 100% honest. But it was still a good episode. It's just that was a little bit like, okay, like, are we done? Like, one of them type of situations. But anyway, and I did see the preview for episode 9, which means we're not skipping any more time. But anyway, the premise of this episode is it's 6 years later. We have to, again, catch up with our characters, which, again, like, I don't know. It's like we have to catch up with everybody again, and there's been more kids born now. Daemon and Rhaenyra are having kids now, which is still crazy that them two are even together, but Daemon has stepped up. He's with Rhaenyra now, and the king is not doing so well. So the king is literally, like, now, like, his face is, like, starting to, like, go pretty much. Like, his eyes, like, gone, I think, and stuff. And, yeah, the king can barely walk at this point. He's, like, not doing so well. And everybody's arguing. Everybody's still having all this conflict. And we have this really amazing scene in the throne room, which I really liked, where you got, like, Otto and stuff, and everybody's kind of, like, just fighting, right? Everybody's just kind of arguing, stuff like that, and all of a sudden you get Varys that comes in, and he kind of, barely able to walk, barely able to even stand, but he walks in there and, tells everybody to back off, and he defends Rhaenyra, which I thought was really good. And, I am, again, starting to struggle with some of the names in this show, so I do apologize, but I believe his name is Vaemon, right? He is, kind of arguing back and forth, and, they kind of start threatening each other, and frickin' Daemon, man, he literally takes him out and slices his head, and he's like, well, what are we going to do with the tongue? So that was pretty freaking savage from Daemon there. Daemon, once again, continues to be my favorite character in this show. He's just the most interesting up to this point. He's just the most, kind of fascinating character, because you never know what he's going to do, right? Like this episode, I didn't expect him to kill him. I mean, I guess I should have, but he just straight up slices his head off, and he's like, all right, it's done, carry on. So, because he was causing too much crap. So, yeah, that was really crazy, and I think it has a different tone to it as well. Now that he's married to Rhaenyra, and now that he's like working with them, but he's still doing these savage things, and he's still acting very just crazy. It's pretty insane to see how far this has gone, and man, the king is not exactly in the position to be stopping him from doing crazy things like this anymore either. So, I don't know, but basically, the one big thing we see this episode is, yes, the conflict is still going on, even 6 years later, which I'm surprised nothing of substance happened in those 6 years, might I add. That's very weird. Like, after the battle of episode 7 and, like, Rhaenyra versus, like, Alicent, you're telling me that 6 years have passed by and nothing's happened? I find that a little hard to believe. But, again, it's one of those things where you don't have to do this time skip. You could have just shown the king not doing well in episode 6 and 7, and he slowly just kind of gets worse, and episode 8, you know, he dies, right? I don't really think they needed to do this time skip. I think it really messes with the story, and it starts to make me wonder, okay, so everybody just chilled out for 6 years? Like, is that, you know, is that what this is? Like, I don't know. It's definitely not doing it for me, this one. So, we then get to see at the end of the episode, he is having a dinner with everybody, and the king, basically, his one last wish he has is everybody gets along. Everybody, you know, kind of just gets along, everything goes well, and he leaves, and then everybody starts bickering again. So it's like, holy crap. I mean, you just can't win with this guy. And the episode ends in a pretty crazy fashion where Alicent comes in, but he's so out of it, the king that is, that he thinks it's Rhaenyra. And he says to Alicent, thinking it's Rhaenyra, that she's the one to rule the Iron Throne. And, you know, Alicent is really just kind of pissed off to hear about this, and he takes his last breaths, and the king is dead. So that's the big one for this episode. The king is dead. So I kind of saw this one coming, obviously. Even, you know, just seeing him in this episode, that death wasn't too surprising to me, but it was still a really big moment. So probably one of my more least favorite episodes of The House of the Dragon. I'm going to give this one like a 7. I thought it was pretty good. The time skip really just makes no sense to me in this one. I heavily defended the time skip in episode 6, and I heavily defended some of the other ones, you know, throughout. But this one just feels very random. We're skipping another 6 years. We're just getting more just like, oh yeah, so just nothing happened during those 6 years. Like, I don't know, man. It's very odd. It's a very weird type of thing, but I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on it. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of House of the Dragon episode 8. Did you, were you surprised by the shocking death at the very end? Definitely let me know. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos for House of the Dragon. Make sure to follow me on Dan's The Walking Dead reviews on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for another video for House of the Dragon. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
I've heard stories. Walkers that can climb walls and open doors. I was never sure if they were just stories.